Welcome to the Radical Responsibility Revolution podcast. This is where we are transforming lives, inspiring you to reclaim your health, your wealth, and the power of your mind. Here we share actionable insights, inviting you to turn inwards and design your life of purpose and abundance. Welcome back to another episode of Radical Responsibility Revolution. And I am so excited about today's guest, Melissa Wilson. She is the embodiment of what happens when courage is built one tiny, uncomfortable step at a time. I love that so much about you. She's launched hands-on workforce development events for kids, a tour guide in Detroit, just to overcome her fear of speaking. Okay, she's a TEDx hopeful. She's a mastermind creator, entrepreneur, and future keynote speaker. Melissa is proof that reinvention doesn't require certainty. It requires willingness and micro acts of courage. She's the founder of Visionaries Mastermind Group, passionate advocate for accountability, partnerships, and a woman who decided that fear wasn't going to be the final voice in her story. And what I love most about Melissa is that she didn't wait to feel ready. She simply kept taking what I call micro courageous acts until all of a sudden her confidence caught up with her. And I know she's taking even more acts of courage these days. You really are the exact type of guest that I love, that you are just doing it. You have just moved through everything. And to me, that is the definition of this podcast, radical responsibility. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Debbie. This is going to be fun today, I can tell.
I have a question I usually ask my guests. What are you the most proud of in your life up until now? And it can't be kids, because women always want to choose their kids. What is the thing that you just beam with pride? And it doesn't mean it'll be the last thing, but what is it up until now?
Beaming with pride. I guess I would say it was the event that you mentioned, Pathway X events. I created a hands-on experiential event for middle and high school students to not move, but to be more aware of career paths in construction and manufacturing. And I did that after 10 years of being an independent contractor and working with lots of associations, government entities, businesses who all made me feel like I was a small piece in this cog, and can I just do the event and stick to that lane? But I constantly was trying to grow and make it better and make iterations. And when I kept hitting walls, budget, or you don't really have certifications in this, or this isn't really your lane, I said, all right, I'm done with all of this. Just going to see what I can do. And so my co-founder and I just decided to start meeting with people in the industry to see if people really would back us in this, if they would show up for it, and if it would make a difference. So we picked a random date in March, and over 100 days, we met with 90 people. I think I have that backwards. In 90 days, we met with 100 different people.
Right.
Just the whole process of enjoying each step and each door that opened and each door that closed, even so that we knew which direction to go in, was so helpful. And when we finally had that event happen, so many miraculous things came together, from
Yeah.
talking down the videographer and audio company that gave me a $20,000 bill to $5,000, to inviting people who had been some of the main naysayers to this to participate as an active participant in the event, and them showing up and then spreading the news of this opportunity through their own social media channels and through their connections. There were so many things that I could say really made me feel really great about knowing I didn't have to be restricted because someone else was telling me to be restricted.
That is just so incredible, because you have so many layers there to unpack. The most important is, to me, is that you just stay connected. You're out there and you're connecting with people. And I think this is one of the most brilliant things that we can do, but also one of the areas that we have lost so much in our connection, especially with it's because we've lost the connection. You talk to 100 people in 90 days. Most people won't do that. So
Yeah.
what is it, the resilience in you? Because I know it's going to be a theme in some of these stories that we tell about you. You just keep putting yourself in front of the world.
And that is very scary, especially for women. We want to feel safe, so we hide. And hiding will never get us to this juicy place that you just described. What is it that you can share with other women? That is so important.
I like how you say getting in front of the world. The world. It's not meaning everyone who could possibly see you on TikTok
Of
or
course.
whatever
Right.
channel you choose to be on, but it's like my world. In the world that
Yep.
I'm in, I choose to try to make a difference by boldly stepping forward and then just owning
Hmm.
responsibility.
Yeah.
That's all it is, I
Yeah.
believe. And I've been pretty confident all along, but it's a high and a low and a high and a low. And
Of
I
course.
love when find myself able to I find myself drawn towards wanting to connect with other people to see which direction this new inspiration I
Exactly.
have can go in, and having no expectations of what they're going to share with me. If you can turn networking or meeting up with someone, even like we're meeting up now, into just what's the possibility? Is the
Yes.
possibility what I want to have out of this, or is the possibility something they're going to bring up that I'm a fit for?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's just enjoying the ride of the feeling of what's going to make the person I'm speaking with feel good and what's going to make me feel good. And I think the leader of that is always curiosity. I'm always
Yeah.
just, how
Yeah.
did someone get to where they are? And will they ask me how I got to where I am? I
Yeah.
used to be very forward in asking people a lot of things without giving much of a breath. But as I've gotten better in public speaking, it's much better to hear what other people are saying and have sometimes to
Cheers.
speak and sometimes to react. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, it's brilliant because that is really what is missing. I can't tell you how many networking groups and people walk up to you and look at you like you're dinner because they do have an agenda. If you don't listen to even the rest of this podcast, that is such brilliant advice for every single person listening is go in with curiosity and no expectation. Because when you do that, magic happens. And you just described a couple of magical baubles that showed up during this whole experience for you. So brilliant.
I want to comment on what you just said about people coming up to you while you're networking for the pure desire to say, I'm here and I think I need to talk to you, but you feel very, I don't know, it doesn't feel comfortable. So one of the
Right.
tricks that I've been using for many years is to, when someone comes up and approaches me full on with a card, ready to share with me whatever they're sharing because they believe this networking event means that there's not a prelude that needs to happen, which is not right.
Exactly. Like,
That I just say to them, I'll say to them after their spiel or whatever the introduction is or whatever the random comments they make are, I'll say, what brought you to this event and why did you think that I was someone you wanted to talk to?
that's really good.
What
I
brought you
love
this
that.
event and why do you think I'm someone to talk to? Because then they think maybe for a minute. And even if they don't and they want to talk about their own business, their own perspective again,
Right.
the next question is, I really like how you designed your card. What made you go in that pathway? So just
Yeah.
in a way deflecting, but making them think more about what they're trying to share with me and how I'm
Yeah.
receiving it. So it's a kinder way of redirecting the conversation, I think.
Oh my gosh, you could give a whole talk
I
on
know it's so
networking.
helpful. It is. It's been really
Mm.
helpful to me to pay attention to those small things,
Yeah,
and then it kind of takes away the fear of going to events when you're expected to
absolutely.
connect with someone or you set yourself
Yeah,
up and think
yeah,
something's got to happen at this event. This is why I'm going. If you
yeah.
go and just look at everyone like people just like you are, right?
Exactly.
You feel me on that
Yes.
one?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. It takes the pressure off of you as well. There's two things going on. You're worried about selling yourself. That's scary in and of itself. But then you're afraid of being approached. So those are two really beautiful jewels that you just dropped right there. You have worked with kids too during this workforce experience. So share about your love for kids and how you brought your passion to the world just in that arena.
I have
Absolutely.
3 children myself. They're all
Yep.
adults. So I started out in the early 90s as an event professional. So I was doing events
Mm,
hands on. I was doing mostly street fairs and then eventually started morphing into independent contracting to help people coordinate a variety of events. And when my 3 kids were going through school, I was the person that would jump in and say, I'll help with the fundraiser and I'll reorganize how this pieces done. So we don't have 3 people planning it. We have 12 people planning it. So no one's stressing out about it. So I realized my talent with working with volunteers over the time my kids were in school, elementary school, middle school, high school. And eventually, as I worked with the PTA on planning some hands on experiential events that related to curriculum, I realized that I really liked bringing awareness to whatever the teachers wanted to highlight. And when I got my position at the Michigan Science Center as the event manager there, and several companies were renting the Science Center and they were doing hands on experiential events, the merging of these two perfect worlds. And I realized I was doing something called workforce development.
Wow.
Development is when you jump into the world of bringing awareness to young people about different career paths. And my kids were very well adjusted, thank goodness. And I got to know a lot of their friends by being active with them in school. And I would have them volunteer on the events that I was running. And my daughters were the first ones to take video of my Pathway X events, Build It construction event that I made. They were secondary to that video company that I mentioned, but as far as they were concerned, they were capturing B-roll and their mom in action. And
Yay.
I just really knowing that young kids are going to be adults in the world with us. As
Mhm.
adults, we should be giving them as many things, I wouldn't have to say tools, but it's not really tools. It's just showing what we do so they can determine and discover what they're going to do. Hopefully in the positive pathway. Kids will be kids. But really, I think I was more, instead of like being drawn towards having kids have the experience, I think I was more trying to lead them down the paths of different choices in adulthood.
That's very interesting.
Oh,
And that's that curiosity thing again. You are just a walking definition of being curious in the world and seeing how different puzzle pieces might fit together and not being attached to that outcome. To me, that has always been and will always be the essence of who we are. If I always say, if you want to make God laugh, get a plan. We plan out, we set goals, and then we stay so micro attached to all of it. And what I keep hearing you say is, I was there, and then this was happening, and then that, and I went, oh, look at that could come together, and that could come together. And that is so beautiful. If more women would do that, we would not be so afraid in the world because we've locked ourselves in.
this is a
I
good
know you're nodding
segue.
your head.
Yes, because this is a good segue. One of the things that it's taken a long time for me to move past is asking permission to do things.
Yes.
So, yes. And
Yeah, but share about that journey, about asking permission, because we do that as women, particularly.
yeah. Yeah. And where does it come from? It comes from working with your parents, most likely in some
Mhm.
version, but then working with teachers and then asking for the jobs and can I go here to spend my money at the movies or am I allowed to use the car? It goes from young all the way to old. And then when you're in relationship with whoever you're with, whoever seems to be or feels like they're the stronger person, which all of you are strong, is the one that you tend to say, hey, is it okay if I do this? Can I do that? And I'm relating this actually to money and my previous relationship. So my now ex-husband with the 3 kids, I did that for so long because I wasn't attributing the work that I was doing as financially relevant to our family income as what he was doing. So I would regularly say, can I
Mhm.
switch cars with you? Because I'm doing this event instead of just taking the car that we were using. Or do you think we could go on vacation at this time? Would that be all right with you? You can see probably in my face that I'm so
Yeah.
grateful to not be in that relationship anymore and
Mhm.
in a relationship where my current partner, if he hears those things start to come up in my terminology, he'll just look at me comfortably and say, oh, are you asking permission? Am I getting to vote on that? Because I don't usually ask you permission. You notice that, right? And those little
Mhm.
helpful tips to
Yeah.
pull me out of how I often make decisions or had been making decisions, so helpful.
Yeah. How wonderful is that, though? My version of life is that you've created that energetic frequency for yourself, that you've attracted this new partner that allows that to happen because that is available for all women. So, by the way, all of you listening, that is available for all of you, but we have to make the choice for ourselves first. then it comes. And
Hmm.
so I love that bit that you just shared because we do, as women especially. Oh my gosh, we ask for permission. I have one friend who's German. She says, I'm sorry every 13 seconds about something. And I say, you don't have to say that. And when she says, yes, I do. I've been doing it all my life. But this is what we do as women. It is a perpetual pattern. It isn't meaning that you can't change it. It's just a pattern. And I look at you now and think, God, I can't even imagine you asking for permission because
Oh,
you are,
yeah.
but I know, but we all see each other the way we are now. We don't see each other as the way we have been and what got us to this place. Right now, this whole accountability partnership thing that you're doing, I want to talk about that perspective because it is so much about connecting with others, but doing exactly what you just said your partner did. He's being accountable to you and you're being accountable to him by co-creating with one another. Speak about this accountability from how you're embodying it, but how you're bringing it to the world.
Yes. When I launched my business, which was with that event that we talked about earlier, when I decided I wasn't going to work for other people that were crushing my dreams, even though it was
Yes.
okay, because I was saying I was working within a system. When I
Yep.
decided to launch the business, as you heard, I was an event professional, and event professionals are doers. And we have a good, strong talent for handling large amounts of pressure, often with a smile on our face, because we can see the whole vision, the whole pathway.
Mhm.
So for 2 years, almost 2 years, I ran these pilots for Pathway X events, build it construction, make it manufacturing. And I met a friend of mine who said, you're going to be the bottleneck to your business forever if you cannot figure out how to
Mhm.
start working on the growing of this, the creating the systems behind it, and not working just in it and being the person in control of the event. And I remember responding and saying, but I love doing the event. The event is so fun. I get to say all the yeses to and all the nos. And then in retrospect, I was able to really learn through a CEO roundtable that I joined that when you're the leader of a company, when you're the leader of building something, you really have to take the thing that you figured out that will work with your big picture and pass it to the next person. In the CEO roundtable group, what we were doing with each other every month was holding each other accountable through going around a small table, checking in. What did we say we were going to accomplish? Did we accomplish it? And was there a challenge there, or is there a reason that we can celebrate with you? And I was in that group for 2 years, completely changed my perspective on how business operates, especially by witnessing others.
Mm.
But just the joy, I knew this was the right thing for me because when you feel as good as you feel and you say things that you can't even really hear yourself saying, you just know the reaction is a good one. It's almost like you're channeling joy. That's when you know you're in the right lane. And when I would be in those parts of the meetings and accountability statements, I would raise my hand. Can I respond to that? Can I share with you what I'm hearing you saying? This is so amazing that you've gotten this far.
Mhm.
Or can I give you a little feedback on that thing you're finding difficult? Not advising anyone, but just saying, I heard you say earlier this, I heard you say earlier
Mhm.
that. That witnessing without
Mhm.
shame, without pressure, just saying, I can see this and I don't know if you can, but I'd like to share it with you. That's a alignability process that I have developed now. So I was in that group for a long time. I was in it for 2 years as a member, and then I was asked to facilitate it,
Mhm.
probably because I was interrupting people at times. And then I didn't feel bad about it because there was a process and a time we were working through. So that's how we all end up facilitating, right?
Yeah.
And then I decided to launch my own mastermind groups called Visionaries Mastermind. And I had a co-founder with me. He had had a lot of experience in running franchises and supporting businesses and how to find funding, how to take the money that you do have and hire high-end marketing or sales teams. And I came in with Miss Enthusiasm and curiosity. So we had this very nice balance for about 3 years of having our small curated group, and we decided to have a second group. So we ran two groups and then I ran a third group, bringing awareness about the
Mhm.
accountability statements that you're making, why you're making them, what your end goal is, and how to just witness and recognize the effort that the person at the table is making.
The thing that is so interesting is your story of that, how you were into the doingness of it. Because I believe after interviewing so many women, especially because we get to the point where we're doing so much that we go into the busy mode and then we get burned out, that we attribute, I at least this is my version of the world, that we are attributing the doingness and the busyness with our self-worth, when the reality is your worth is what you just described. It's the bigger picture. There is a time for doing this, and I'm not to say that anybody shouldn't be doing things. Obviously, we have to, we're in a 3D world. But I think it's so brilliant to share that. And then you use one of my favorite words, which is awareness, because it's just becoming aware of our own self. And then we can help others become aware of what they're saying. But accountability across the board, AI will never give us that. I'm on this bandwagon about AI. I love AI, but it's not connection. And you really sparked that a little bit more in me, that just to remind people, AI will never be connection. AI will never be accountability. It may take so many different jobs, but that's such a beautiful metaphor for life, because we are beings that want to be connected. I think one of the things I also admire about you is that you finally got to that place of not asking for permission, but you don't let people dislike what you do to your own detriment. So that I think has probably been going on for most of your life, not just the ask for permission part. So talk about that a little bit, because we really care what people think about us way too much. How do you find yourself being able to just look at people, see, they're disliking what you're doing because they'll vocalize it, and yet in your soul that it's the right thing to do? Share how that might be translated to somebody else.
So many good things in that. So, yes, you're exactly right. I'm a forward person and I like to move forward on ideas and concepts and encourage other people to do the same. And not everybody likes that. They want you to follow the pathway that they
Mhm.
followed, or the ones that are already in place that are trying to get as many people into as possible. Or they use the idea that how do I say this? Like judging, right? You don't want to, so I don't care who judges me. And I don't know if it's my age or if, I don't think so, because I've been like this a long time. So I will mention here that my dad is a Marine. He was only a
Mhm.
Marine for 6 years, but as once a Marine, always a Marine. And my
Oh, yeah.
mom is a God loving, wonderful, generous soul. And so she would be the one that would get us all the gifts on the side. And my dad would say, duh, stop spending so much money. Or she would say, we should go on this trip. And I have all these reasons why. And he would whittle it down. And eventually I
Mhm.
realized as I was moving through my 20s that I was the both of them. I was the
Yeah.
direct speaker with a big smile on my face with the enjoyment of saying, can't you just see how this could be great? And that is still a part of my story right now. So
Yeah.
one of the things I remind myself often is I don't need permission to be creative. I don't need anyone to tell me that because I'm not doing it the way that they saw, or I'm not following some other curriculum or pathway to create something that I'm asking them to be involved with, that all they get to do is say whether or not they want to be a part of it or not. And as soon as someone says they do, then my next questions are, how would you like to be involved? Would you just like to be on the list, or would you like me to reach out to you to support, or are you connecting me to someone else? So you just need to, I shouldn't say you just need to. What I love doing is trying to figure out what someone's motivation is to feel
Mhm.
connected to what I'm doing. And if I
Mhm.
can work with their motivation to my own benefit to make that activity even better with all the people that are playing with us in this activity, then that's what I am going to do.
Yeah. So I read a book a million years ago with one of my mentors, and it was, what other people think about me is none of my business. Because the
Yeah,
fact of the
yeah.
matter is that we just take that so much, and I'm over people calling themselves empaths. I think that's kind of buzzword for, oh, I have to feel everybody's stuff. I'm like, you don't have to feel anybody's stuff. You can be empathetic, but that doesn't mean you have to take it on. And I love that you are just holding your own energy, but not in a way that's hurting other people. It's just, here, do you want to play with me?
Yeah, it's
I'm
totally like
open
that.
and receptive. Yes, it's brilliant. And it's just such a great model for women to see. And they can do that too.
Yeah. Can I
Yeah.
continue just one more thing on the
Sure.
networking? When you think about networking or connecting with others for whatever the reason might be, even if you're at a church group activity or a festival with multiple people that have joined you or at your own house party, it whenever you're connecting with people in a room on purpose, like you've purposely taken yourself out of bed, got your hair done like you had done today, and you want to interact with at least one other person to say, I checked the box. I did what I
Yeah.
came here to do. If you
Yep.
come into those rooms without defenses, without the perception that I'm going to judge other people because they're judging me, if you just go
Yep.
in and with the attitude of what's going to happen here today, like what's going to
Yes.
happen, who's
Yep.
who's going to want to speak with me, who am I going to want to
Yeah.
be speaking
Yeah.
to. It is about that law of attraction, I believe, that what
Oh, 100.
that energy that you draw to you, and that you
Mm.
also it's fun. And you can also go to networking events or activities that you choose to go to, like trainings or whatever, and just witness what other people are getting out of it. Are they getting the same thing you're getting when they speak up and you were going to, but you didn't in time? Listen to what they have to say, because that message might have more meaning for you than if it came out of your own mouth. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a fun way to network and connect with people, especially if you look at them as friends already, friends you
As
haven't met
friends.
yet.
Yeah.
Friends you
Right.
haven't met yet. And you don't
Exactly.
always have to see your
Yep.
friends every day or talk to them every day.
Yep. Yep. No, it's true. You talked on our pre-call about enthusiasm versus grind. And so what I love about what everything that you've shared, it's enthusiasm. And
Hmm.
enthusiasm also is one of those trigger words that, oh, you have to be over the top or something. What I see that really just innate enthusiasm in you with everything. It's just that receptivity, that joy, that I'm here for fun, whatever
Hmm.
life brings to me. So talk about that for women that are in the grind right now, that there is another alternative, and that's called this enthusiasm.
It truly is called that, enthusiasm.
Yeah,
The women who are in the grind that listen to this, there's value in the work that you're doing. Truly, there's value in the work that you're doing
yeah,
because you believe there is value in the work you're doing, and you've
yeah,
agreed with someone else. That's the thing you're going to hold yourself responsible to get done, right?
yeah.
But
Mhm.
everything we do is in the knowing that if we do it, we're going to feel better. So
Yeah,
hopefully, what you are doing is making you feel better. There's no other reason to you get a job to have the income because you'll use that for something else that'll make you feel better. You go out and sit by some water or take a walk because you know that time that you're spending to do that is in order for you to feel better. Conversations you have with friends that either they're sad and need you or vice versa. Those things that we all do as humans are to make us feel better. And going back to your AI, we will not ever get that from our AI new
never.
friends, right? They're going to just be matter of fact, spit it out for us.
Yep,
It's not going to feel connected, like you said. And the human relationships that will come out of what we're making simpler with these AI tools are going to be so enriching. That's why I want to
yeah,
continue building these accountability groups and
yeah,
train and teach on it where I can.
yeah. Absolutely. So if somebody wanted to connect with you or ask you to speak, what would be the best way that they would connect with you? All of what you're going to share is going to be in the show notes, so don't worry about spelling things out.
I definitely would like people to go to my website.
Yep.
And in that website, there's information, including my email address, even my cell phone number, so that people can reach out to learn more about me. And I also am on LinkedIn under Melissa Raymond Wilson. My middle name is Raymond. From my father, he had two daughters, and we're the end of the line. So I changed my name to have his middle name as mine.
So sweet. I know that you are a speaker, and one of the things that we as speakers are the mother load, apparently. I'm not sure I'm 100% on board with that, but I'm still striving for it, is having a TED Talk. And one of the reasons that I even reached out to you was because you were talking about a woman that had applied 60 times for a TED Talk. So what I want to do is, because there's women on here that are prospective speakers that all want that, and there's everybody out there and their mother trying to teach you how to do it. for hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. But I want you to share about your experience, just bringing all of this full circle with your enthusiasm and your curiosity and your connection, because your story of how you're going about it to me is the most brilliant thing that I've heard so far. Because other than pay somebody tens of thousands of dollars that will tell me, here's how to write it, I'm going to help you do it, and then you may get views or not, depending on how they guarantee it. But I love what your story is around TED Talks.
All right. So you want to hear the TED Talk versus how I broke away from setting people up as an event planner to be
Yeah.
behind the mic and then move myself behind the mic. So let's talk about TED Talks. Like yourself and like many listeners, I think we all aspire to have TEDx speaker or TED Talk speaker on
Right.
our bio line somewhere,
Somewhere.
because there are so many millions of people that listen to TED Talks and
Mhm.
sporadically throughout their life. And when you're in the speaker world that we're in, it starts to seem kind of cliche, right? But
Yeah.
only 1% of people ever even decide to do TEDx and get on the
Yeah.
stage, let alone become someone who professionally speaks for a living, right? I wasn't really thinking I was ready for TED Talk, but I thought that if I'm preparing a keynote speech on my aligned accountability method and wanting to do a workshop talking about how to be a good accountability partner to someone else, because whenever I mention this to people, the first thing they say is, "Oh, I need somebody to hold me accountable." All the time.
Hmm.
So I'm playing around with how I can address that immediate response that I get, because really
Right.
I'm wanting people to be an accountability for someone else. I want
Yeah.
them to learn how to be that for someone else so that they're able to receive it back. So I was
Yeah.
thinking about the TED Talk, and typically they're very short. And I was thinking about getting into a program to develop what my idea would be regarding being in this talk. And I met someone here. Are you familiar with Mic Drop Club and
Yeah.
Jess
Yeah.
Ekstrom? Yeah.
Hmm.
So I met someone through Mic Drop Club because I went to their live and in person event. And it turned out that she was a TEDx speaker coach. Like you were saying, we pay a lot of money for all these different coaches to help get us there. What was different about Kara Truitt, and we can put her in your show notes too, I think.
Sure.
What's different about her is she's speaking for a living. She's supporting a group that supports women speakers to earn more money from the stage, that even if you've never earned a dollar, you should be earning something. And so she really helps teach that. But because she's running this club, she was able to speak with us directly about how she decided to launch her very own TEDx Sugar Creek Women in 2024,
Oh.
March.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
it was like all these great worlds coming together, right? Someone who wants to
Yeah.
teach me how to speak better, how to make more money, how to get your application through with a TED Talk. And not only that, she's a person who's actually creating the entire event and
Yeah.
coaching the
Yeah.
people. It was a convergence of the perfect world. And
Yeah.
she's just so kind. She's a mother of
Yeah.
young children, and she just is just a very kind human being. So, Kara had up on her stage this year in March 2025, her second round of TED Talk, a woman who had applied over 60 times. And she had applied with multiple different topics, but it wasn't till she met Kara out in the wild that Kara said three important things. One,
Hmm.
keep applying. It's
Hmm.
not you. It's what
Yeah.
that event is trying to put together. Keep applying.
Right.
And two, it's an idea. It's an idea worth sharing. It's not your personal story. It's not what you're selling. It's not what's made you the person you are. It's the idea that you're giving to someone else from the stage so they
Yeah.
can take that idea and change the world with it. So when you put those two things together, along with knowing that it's a marketing tool for any speaker that gets
Hmm.
on the stage, you
Yeah.
have the perfect trifecta of getting up there. So, do you want to hear some tips that she shared for getting your application
Sure.
through?
Yeah. Absolutely.
They're
Oh.
gems. And once you start paying attention, you know what you need to know when you decide you want to do a TED Talk. So first of all, there's several kinds. There's your normal TEDx talk. Any group can become a licensed TEDx offerer,
Right.
and you show up as a TEDx university, an educational format, a youth format, or for women. There's categories just like in anything
Right.
else, and you choose which one
Yeah.
you'd like to be looking for. And then you think about, you when you start to see those applications come up, you look for the theme that resonates with what your idea is. So
Right.
every TEDx talk just about has a theme. And not only do they
Yeah.
have a theme, they have segments within the theme. So they
Mm,
might have a young speaker speak about that topic. They might have a middle-aged person speak about that same topic and an older person speak about that same topic. Or they might just have two different peoples that have two different perspectives. And that might be what they're trying to pull out of their theme. So when you are getting ready to write your application, yes, use keywords and put in what their theme terminology is. But if the idea resonates from your life experience, who you are, who you're trying to be, that will come through in those applications. And then that thing I already mentioned, it's not you. If you're not accepted, it's sometimes because they have 5 or 6 slots for 500 applications, and they have to make very difficult decisions with that. And it
yeah.
also doesn't mean that you should not apply the next year and the next year and the next year, because it's typically
Yeah.
the same committee
Hmm.
with give or take 1 or 2 or 3 people that are reviewing these applications. And when they see someone reapply, they're really excited because they've been thinking about how great that talk would have been if they could have fit it in. So keep applying because the opportunity is there. The people putting these events on are all volunteers, and you're going to be volunteering your time with
Right.
excellent coaching and excellent videography work and a TEDx talk that'll sit in
Yeah.
your wherever your YouTube channel, your LinkedIn, or just on your home TV if you want to run it there. That's
Yeah.
the asset that you end up getting for the amount of time it takes to pull these together.
Yeah. It's definitely worth giving it a shot. I applied and got turned down once and was just, oh my goodness. And then that's when I saw your post. So
Oh,
it's
good.
brilliant. Yeah,
I want
yeah.
to
No, I mean,
mention one more thing
go
on
ahead.
TED Talks for you too. The second thing that I did is I went to another local TED Talk and offered to volunteer. So they all need volunteers
Exactly.
in the room,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that however generous and helpful you are during that time frame,
Yeah.
that also gets your foot in the door.
Yes. And again, connection. I love everything that you share. You are just a connection magnet.
Oh,
I've been
thanks.
so in love with you. So I want to, we're running out of time. This has been so much fun. But I want to talk about something that you did, just another thing that's just out of the box because you were not born as a speaker, right? You are an implementer and a doer, but you decided you wanted to become a speaker. And what did you do to broach this area of being a speaker? Because I'll share it with, I want you to
Yes.
just share what you did.
Yes, thank you. So when I launched my business, I was all about putting other people in front of the microphone. It was like one of my most favorite things to speak to a speaker getting on the stage. Thank God I was doing it right in retrospect now that I've learned, which is speak to the speaker on stage just before they got on within a few minutes to point out stage, left stage, where the cameras are, where whatever it was that they needed, what remind them of their audience. They're usually comfortable with their audience, but just remind them what our event is looking for them being up on stage. And so I was perfectly happy giving that little pep talk to all the group speakers and on you go. And then they were grateful usually afterwards. When I was asked to MC a business event that was a 1 hour event in my hometown, declined. I don't know how many times, probably 15 times, because I like working the room and making people say the things that they are holding back. So I kept being offered that opportunity. And then the first day I was handed the microphone because there was literally no one else that could do the 5 minute emceeing in the beginning. And I just stumbled. I didn't want to hold the microphone close. I did all the wrong things. Everything that I had been telling other speakers to do, I messed up. I even set the microphone down and said, if I could just talk without the microphone, who hasn't done that in a room, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I realized that I really did have that deep seated fear of public speaking. And when you look into it, you
Mhm.
realize just about everybody has that feeling. So I thought, I'm going to get a speaker coach because as 2020 came around with my Pathway X business and I couldn't really host those hands on experiential events, I thought, I'm just going to tell the story of what I was trying to build. And to do that, I need to come up with some kind of a script or something. So I paid a coach. She really tried to get me to hone down my 25-page talk into key components, but I didn't understand the right pathway for that. And then I hired another coach and I just gave them a small snippet. And that coach was
Mhm.
really engaging, gave me a framework, but I just couldn't see how what I was doing would fit in there. So after giving up for 6 months, I was at a card party at a friend's house And somebody in the group was telling me that they had just retired as a teacher and they were doing the best job ever that they had ever done in their life. They wish they'd known about it sooner. And that was being a tour guide in the city of Detroit. And so I
I
thought,
love this.
that's on a microphone, and that's probably with small groups walking around. I should be able to do something like that. So I got trained to be a tour guide. And it didn't start out the way I imagined. I imagined I'd be walking a small group of people around my favorite city that I'd been in for 25 years. What it turned out to be was cruise ships coming down the Detroit River. It's a new thing. Viking has these amazing cruise ships, and then 10 of us would show up at the dock, and we were the Detroit excursion group. And so
Oh,
masses of older people mostly would come off. We would get on a bus with 50 people, and I'd
mhm.
have to be on a microphone looking at all these heads, all the heads over the bus seats, and I'd face them for a couple minutes, and then I'd get to sit down and turn around and basically read my script.
Yeah,
But then as I got better and I
yeah.
did the tours, more tours in person, I found it to be much more enjoyable. And this is when the epiphany happened that you do have to memorize what you're talking about. And it's not that hard. It's not that hard. I had to memorize things like dates, people's
Yeah.
names, and buildings and architecture and things like that. But in between, you can put your own stories in there. And that's when I
Yes.
started to find my joy. And that was
Right.
around 2023. And in 2024, I found Mic Drop, and I started
Yeah.
training myself to do better at public speaking wherever I was. And now it's been about a year that I've had my keynotes ready to go, and I'm putting out the proposals now. And I feel really comfortable about what it is I'm about to share because of those steps I've taken.
I just think that is one of the best stories that I've heard in such a long time because it really was. And what's so funny is that we hire coaches for everything. I can't even tell you how much money I've spent on coaches and mentors. But yet it's the simplest little things that will take us outside of our comfort zone, but
Mhm.
also you had a lot of fun doing it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's a beautiful story, and it's just every one of your stories to me is inspiration for all women. So I just want you to know that you are a light in this world, and you are just absolutely going to change lives, continue to, because I know you have already in such a dramatic way. And I can't wait to see your journey. And I'd like to check in with you in a few months and see how you're doing because, honest to goodness, I think you are one of the most incredible women. I know a lot of incredible women, but you just do it. That's the thing. And that is so brilliant. So I am so
Mhm.
honored that you shared time with us today because you have an amazing story to tell. And I really appreciate it. So thank you for
Thank
being
you,
my
Debbie.
guest.
And I like how you said that. Just do it. I have a saying, just do it, because what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? And truly, it's not that bad, right? So
Yes,
go for it. I
absolutely.
really appreciate your time here today and interviewing me. It's been a lot of fun. I really don't do that many podcasts, so I'm very grateful that you asked, and I look
Yeah,
forward to doing more of them because this just feels fun,
absolutely.
like new
Super fun.
friends having a chat.
Yeah, run 100%.